Hey there, welcome to the Marketing Coach Podcast. I am your host, Angie Gensler, and I'm so excited to have you joining me for today's episode. We are going to talk all about Pinterest, and this episode will help you decide if Pinterest is the right platform to be marketing your business. Now, if you haven't been following along, this is the sixth episode in my social media series. And this series is all designed to help you select the best social media platforms for your business. Now, the previous episodes, I talked a lot about choosing one platform, just narrowing down to one and focusing on that. And in each episode, I help you figure out if the platform that I'm talking about is the right fit for you. Now, what makes today's episode just a little bit different is that Pinterest is not a traditional social media platform. So, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, those are more of traditional platforms where you share content and then that content maybe lives for a day or two, it gets the engagement, and then it kind of dies. Like it does last on the platform as long as it's not a story, it lasts, but it's not going to keep getting results and engagement, and people aren't going to keep being sent and pushed your content on those platforms. What makes Pinterest so different from those more traditional platforms is that Pinterest actually behaves more like a search engine. So if you think about Google, you jump into Google, you type in a keyword and it pulls up the results. Pinterest operates the exact same way. And so actually my next two episodes, so this one and the one after this, are going to be focused more on search engine type social platforms. So today we're going to dig into Pinterest, and then next week I will talk all about YouTube. So when we're talking through these platforms, I've said I want you to choose one platform to really put your focus. I want you to choose one traditional social media platform, and then I want you to choose one search engine platform. So either Pinterest or YouTube to be putting your time and effort. And that's because your content is going to live forever and be found forever on the search engine platforms. And it's a lot easier to get traffic to your website using Pinterest or YouTube. So you're going to find that you'll get a lot more traffic for the effort that you're putting in versus those more traditional social platforms. So, how do you decide between Pinterest or YouTube? Which one should you focus on? Well, let's walk through those three questions that I've been walking you through in the past 5 episodes of, how do you choose the right channel for your business? Let's walk through those questions for Pinterest. So, the first question is, who is your ideal customer and where do they hang out? Now, Pinterest has some great statistics out there. Currently, they have 478 million active monthly users, which is really incredible because when I actually got started with Pinterest, I think it was maybe 4 years ago that I really dug in and started growing my business. They were only at 200 million monthly active users. So they have grown immensely in the last 4 years, which is a great opportunity for small business owners right now. They have a massive audience on their platform and it is growing rapidly. Now, if you're in the United States, even more good news for you because 50% of those 478 million are from the United States. So, United States users are a huge group on Pinterest. And of those users, now I found some conflicting statistics about this. So, take this as you will, but one stat said that 75% of all Pinterest users are women. I found another one that was closer to about 65%, but just know that the platform it leans more heavily female users. So, but there are male users on the platform. Actually, male pinners are up 40% year over year. So the male demographic is growing pretty significantly as well on the platform. Now, the average age of a Pinterest user is 40 years old, But I also saw some data that was showing the Pinterest users tend to skew more on the older age ranges. So 35 to 55 tends to be kind of the bulk of the age range of the users. The 10 through 19, they really aren't using Pinterest as actively as 65 and up, which I thought that was kind of fascinating. The 65 and up user group is actually larger than that younger user group on Pinterest. Here's the really cool thing about Pinterest. 97% of the searches that are conducted on Pinterest are unbranded. So that means someone is going onto the platform and they are typing in a generic search. Let's say, just for an example, first thing that popped in my head was laundry detergent. I don't know why. But let's say someone goes on there and they want to type in best laundry detergent to get out tomato stains, or let's see, best laundry detergent to whatever it is to help with XYZ. The nice thing is that's a very generic, unbranded search. They're not typing in, like Target laundry detergent. Target. What's a laundry detergent brand? My goodness, I can't even think of one. Um, so if someone can help me out in the comments, or I'm sure tons of people can probably rattle off a million different things. But right now on the spot, I literally can't think of a single laundry detergent brand. But they're not typing in the brand name and then the question, or they're not typing in, let's say another example. My husband and I are looking at patio for Tide. Thank you, Trevor. Trevor just typed in the chat, Tide. Yes, someone isn't going into Pinterest typing in like Tide laundry detergent to help with XYZ. It's an unbranded search. So another example, Trevor and I are looking at patio furniture for our homes. I'm going to go into Pinterest and I'm just going to type in, patio furniture ideas, or beautiful patio designs, to get ideas of the type of furniture and the look that I want to create for our backyard patio. So I'm not going in there typing in a specific brand, or I'm not even typing in like Home Depot patio furniture. I'm not doing that. I would go on the platform to get ideas. And the nice thing is, as a business, then you can basically provide your products that fulfill that idea. So if you were a creator of patio furniture, you could have different images of beautiful patio settings that would be delivered when I search for, backyard patio ideas or patio design ideas. Then your furniture photos could be delivered to me in the search results. And now that then would take me to your website, where now maybe I purchase your product. So it's a really great opportunity for you as a business owner to get your products and your services in front of someone when they are in the initial buying phase. It's really incredible. So there's a lot more Pinterest statistics that you guys can dig through to really decide if, it's the right demographic profile for your business and the audience that you are wanting to reach. And so to help you out, I'm going to put a couple different links in the show notes and in the description below this video if you're listening on YouTube, that will provide way more statistics and a lot more demographic data about Pinterest. So you can dive into that and see if it's the right fit for your business. Okay, so once you've answered that question of who's your ideal customer and where do they hang out, you try and figure out, okay, is my ideal customer hanging out on Pinterest? Then you're going to move on to the question number 2, and that is, which platform fits your style? Okay, so to really understand this one, let me walk through the style of Pinterest. It's very different, it's very unique if you're not familiar with it. Pinterest, again, I mentioned it's a place where people go to discover ideas, they find inspiration, they really want to create a better life, or create something more beautiful. Maybe they want to pull off a really incredible birthday party for their child, or like I mentioned, they want to design a beautiful backyard patio, or they want to get more fit and healthy. They go on Pinterest to find ideas to help them achieve their goals, the things that they want to create and accomplish in life. So, as a business owner, you can then provide those ideas to users through what's called a pin. So, every single image on the platform is called a pin. And pins can be images, but they can also be videos. And They are all portrait size. Now you can share a landscape size pin on Pinterest, but it's going to get lost. So anything that you share, any video, any image, you want it to be portrait size, and your pins will include a description and a link to their online source. So let me go back to that patio furniture example. Okay, so um, if you were a producer of patio furniture, that's what you sold for your business, you could share an image of a backyard patio set. And when someone clicks on that, it would link directly to your website, to that product page where they could go learn more about the patio set and possibly even purchase it directly from your website. Or maybe they can go find out, which local retailer carries that product that they can go purchase it. But the great thing is that your pins, every single pin has a link. So it's a great way to drive traffic to the pages on your website where you want people to be active and to be at. The other thing, so I'm using a product example, but it is so much more than just products that can be marketed on Pinterest. So I'll talk a little bit more about my experience with Pinterest, but my business is a service and a digital product. So I don't have any tangible products like patio furniture, but I have had incredible results with Pinterest and mostly through blog posts. So blog content is really huge on Pinterest. If you're a Pinterest user, you have more than likely visited lots of food blogs. So recipes, meals, even workouts, fitness type articles and resources. Those are really, really huge on Pinterest. So you can drive them to a product page. You can drive your pins to a blog post, to a podcast. You can even send them to a YouTube video, maybe a sales page, a landing page. Any link you want, you can drive your pins to those places that you want to send your traffic. So it's really powerful. The other thing on Pinterest that's fairly new is what's called an idea pin. And idea pins are basically like TikTok videos or Instagram stories. They operate very similarly. The nice thing though is that with idea pins, they don't disappear in 24 hours. They do stay forever on the platform. But the one downside with idea pins is that you cannot assign a link to them. So that's a really frustrating thing right now. I'm hoping that Pinterest will change this down the road. But they do not allow you to put a link to drive traffic to them. So hearing that, you may wonder, oh, okay, well then what's the point? Like, why would I even spend my time creating idea pins? The cool thing about idea pins is that Pinterest, like all the other platforms, when they introduce something new, they are pushing it extremely hard. So earlier, gosh, I don't remember, maybe a few months ago, I ran a few different tests with idea pins. I wanted to see what kind of results I could get with them. And I just got a notification from Pinterest recently that one of my idea pins has had over 10,000 impressions, which is really powerful because when I look at all of my other pins, my more traditional pins, uh, not many of them have ever gotten more than 500 impressions, some of them more than 1,000 impressions. I'm lucky if I can get that on just an organic pin. And so the fact that I was able to get 10,000 impressions on an idea pin that, I just pinned it once, it just took off. It got lots of results. But the downside of that is, again, okay, so there's 10,000 people that saw that pin, but they weren't able to click on that pin and go to my website and actually become traffic. So if you're going to use idea pins, right now I would use them as a strategy to build brand awareness and to just help people become more aware of you, be in front of them, so hopefully intrigue them. If you have a lot of idea pins, they keep popping up in people's feed. Eventually, they're going to go to your profile. They're going to check you out. Maybe they'll follow you. I know idea pins is a great strategy as a way to get more followers on Pinterest. But then sometimes people, they will go to your profile and they'll click on your URL because you can put a link in your profile description to your website. So sometimes you can get traffic in a roundabout way that way. But if your number one goal is to drive traffic to a certain page, then I wouldn't focus too heavily on idea pins just yet. Okay, so focus more on the traditional pins where you can assign a link. Because again, and the other thing, excuse me, that's really great about those traditional pins is that you give them a description. And so, in addition to your link, you can create a pretty long description. I can't remember what the current limit is right now. I think it's about 500 characters. So, you can put a really long description in there and you can fill it full of keywords. And that is how your pins get found by people. So, when they jump into Pinterest and they type in a search, if your pin includes those keywords or fits within that, and the algorithm thinks, okay, this pin would fit what this person's looking for, they'll show it in their feed. And so, if you are doing your keyword research properly and you're writing good descriptions, then you can get instant traffic on Pinterest without paying for ads. And that's pretty rare to be able to do nowadays. Most of these platforms, you have to be paying for ads or, you have to try some really crazy strategies to get good results. With Pinterest, you just need good keyword research, create good descriptions, and you can be getting some instant traffic. And so that's how I was able to grow my blog right away when I first started. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in just a second. But if you think about it, search engine optimization, if you're writing blog posts on your website and you're really focusing heavily on SEO and optimizing your blog posts, it could take 6 to 9 months for Google and other search engines to index those posts and for you to build authority so that then they actually start showing those posts in the search results. And that's not the case with Pinterest. Pinterest, as long as your content is good, it seems to be pretty high quality content, it's good keywords, good imagery, it's going to start being shown right away in that search feed and in the search results. So it's a really powerful way for you to start getting traffic to your website right away. Um, okay, let's move on to the next question that I want you to answer. So, if Pinterest fits your style, actually, before we move on to the next question, I want to talk about this a little bit more about the style of Pinterest. Because I talked about kind of how Pinterest works, but the style of Pinterest is you need to be pinning anywhere from 10 to 30 pins a day. Now, if you're used to the more traditional platforms, that's going to seem completely ridiculous and insane, right? Because I typically teach you want to post one time a day is plenty on like Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn. Once a day is plenty, up to 3 times a day would be great. Okay, so when you hear Pinterest is 10 to 30 times a day, it's like, whoa, peace, I'm out. I know a lot of people hear that and it just freaks them out. But here's the lovely thing about Pinterest, one pin image. So let's say you write a blog post, you can design one image for that blog post and you can share it to 10 different boards. So for me, for my business, I post about social media marketing. So I have a social media marketing board, I have a LinkedIn board, a Facebook board, a Twitter board, and so on. I have lots of different boards. And so if I write a piece of content, oftentimes that one piece of content is relevant to 5 to 10 of my boards. I'm also part of group boards, which I won't get into in this podcast. That's part of a whole nother discussion, but I'm also a member of group boards. And that pin or that piece of content would apply to up to 10, maybe 15 of my group boards. So if I create one pin for one piece of content, that could get me anywhere from 20 to 30 different pins. So when you hear you have to pin 10 to 30 times a day, I don't want it to scare you off. It's way, way easier than it sounds. On top of that, typically when you create a pin for a piece of content, you're actually going to create more than one pin. I typically recommend you create anywhere from 3 to 5 different pin designs, and there's tools to make this a lot easier for you. But if you create, let's say you have 5 different pins and they have different variations of headlines and imagery within them. Okay, well, now those 5 pins, let's say they can go to 10 different boards. That's essentially giving you 50 pins out of one piece of content. So it's I promise you the style, the cadence, the frequency that Pinterest demands is much, much easier than it initially sounds. Um, and it does require Pinterest does require some design skills. It is 100% an image-based platform. And so if you struggle with design and graphic design, it's I don't want you to rule Pinterest out completely. Don't say, "Oh, that's not my style, it won't work." There is a great tool I'll talk about in a little bit that is fantastic to help you be better with Pinterest design and improve your designs. Um, but it is a very design heavy platform. So if the idea of spending a lot of time designing images to promote your content kind of scares you away, Pinterest might not be the best fit for you. Maybe creating videos is more your style. Maybe YouTube would be a better fit and fits your style better. So that's something that you need to kind of take into account and consider. Okay, so let's move on to the third question that you need to answer when you are trying to find the right platform for your business. And that is, which platform can help you achieve your goals? So, as I think I've mentioned this a few times already, Pinterest is perfect to help you drive traffic to your website. That is really the beauty of Pinterest. And so, when I first started my business, I had no followers on Pinterest. I did not launch to my family, my friends. I was kind of embarrassed. And so I had, none of that warm traffic. People always say like, "Oh, launch to your warm audience." I had no warm audience. So I was launching to nothing. I had no followers on Pinterest. I had no friends and family, that were helping get my business kind of off the ground. I was starting from absolute zero. And I created one freebie. So I had a lead magnet and I believe I had two blog posts when I launched my website. And I created pins for those two blog posts and that freebie. So I had three different URLs that I was trying to drive traffic to. And I was able to join a couple group boards, and I had my own boards, and I just started sharing those pins, trying to drive traffic. And the crazy thing about this was within 30 days, so starting from 0 on day 1 to day 30, on day 30, I had 543 email subscribers, and my website had gotten over 5,500 page views, which is just mind-blowing for, a small business owner starting from absolute 0 to be able to get to over 500 email subscribers in 30 days. That is the power of Pinterest, you guys. It is so incredible. It's a fantastic way to drive traffic to your website. And as you can see, I was also able to build my email list. So I attribute Pinterest to my initial success. And because I got that quick win and that quick success, I was confident to really keep going within my business and stick with it. So Pinterest can really help you achieve those growth goals if that's what you are looking for in your business. Now, you may be wondering, okay, well, Pinterest sounds great, but can it actually work for my unique business, for my industry? A lot of people think that Pinterest is strictly for recipes and fitness and home design, and that's not the case. Now, those are kind of the three top niches on Pinterest. They do incredibly well, but there are also some other industries that thrive on Pinterest. So I want to share some of those with you. Personal finance is a big one. There's lots of content about budgeting and investing on Pinterest. Fashion, of course, and beauty. So anything about with I don't really want to say physical appearance, but kind of like anything that is about beauty, design within your home, on your body, that's going to do really well on Pinterest. It's very visual. Food is also huge on Pinterest. I know most of the people I know who use Pinterest personally, they use it to find recipes and discover new food bloggers. So, food is really big. But even if you're not a food blogger, you can still use Pinterest if you're a restaurant or you're a caterer. There are still great opportunities for you. Fitness and health and wellness are huge on Pinterest, and so is travel. If you think about it, travel is also a very visual industry. So travel's really big, crafts, and any type of crafting, really. So this could be, crafts for kids, which is huge, and activities for young children. That's really big on Pinterest, or even adult crafts and DIY projects to create fun crafts and knickknacks and designs and accessories for your home. That's really big. Home decor and remodeling, any type of DIY projects. Parenting. So I mentioned kids' crafts, but also parenting. Any topic around raising children is really big. Photography is also huge on Pinterest, and weddings and special events. Anything within the wedding industry, really big on Pinterest. And so is gardening and landscaping. And the last one, this is kind of interesting. So, business and marketing is also really big on Pinterest, but Pinterest does not support marketing, social media, or business as one of their categories. So, Pinterest has thousands. I've my Pinterest rep has sent me this massive spreadsheet of all the different industry categories that they have, and they like drill down. Like they'll have let's say like finance. They'll say banking and investing, and they probably have like 30 different subcategories under finance. And they have these categories to help advertisers target the type of people and the interests that they want to reach on the platform. Well, they still don't have a category for business, marketing, or social media, which is so crazy to me. So I say this to share with you that just because, if you don't see your category represented on Pinterest, let's say you go sign up for an account and they have like a few different categories that they'll say, tell us about the type of your business. What's your business about? If you don't see your category there, please don't let that discourage you. My category has never been represented on Pinterest, and I have still had incredible results, and I've been able to grow a very successful business using the platform. Really, what I want you to focus more on is less about the type of industries that perform really well on Pinterest and more about, is your ideal customer on Pinterest? So, my ideal customer is a typically female business owners in their 40s and early 50s. That tends to be my largest demographic, but I also serve lots of male customers and any people anywhere from their early 20s to late 80s. I have customers that fall within all those ranges. But when I first started, I thought, okay, I want to really focus on reaching professional women who are in their 40s, 30s to 50s, really, and who are working moms. That was kind of my ideal demographic. And it was like, well, man, that demographic is absolutely on Pinterest. They're really huge on it and they use it all the time. And I was thinking, not many of my competitors are actually using Pinterest. So there could be a huge opportunity for me. So think about that too. Maybe you don't see a ton of your competitors on the platform. That could be a good thing for you. That could mean there's a great opportunity for you. Now, if you see nobody, or maybe you see a few people, but it doesn't appear they're getting results, that could also be an indication for you that, okay, I don't think Pinterest is going to be the right fit for your business. But go through those three questions, really think about who your ideal customer is, look at the Pinterest demographics, figure out, if your ideal customer is even using the platform, what are your goals for your business and what's your style. That will help you decide if you should take the time to dig into Pinterest. Okay, now I have a few tips to help you get started if you do decide that you want to get started on Pinterest. But before I get into that, I want to share a few more things that really makes Pinterest unique for business owners. I think I've talked about these a little bit, but I have a couple more things I want to share with you. The first item that makes Pinterest so unique for business owners, and I did mention this one, is that the content that you share in the platform, it never dies and it can be discovered for years to come. So, traditional social media channels, the content dies within a matter of hours. And that's not the case on Pinterest. And that is because Pinterest is a search engine. And your keywords that you put into your pin, in your description, in the headline, even in your pin image itself, that's going to help your content get found for years to come. Actually, some of my most popular pins for my business that are driving the most traffic to my website right now are some of my very first pins that I shared on the platform about 4 years ago. So that is really so powerful and what makes the platform so incredibly unique. The second item that makes Pinterest so unique is a tool called Tailwind. So, this is a powerful tool. I've kind of teased it a couple different times throughout this podcast episode. But Tailwind, if you decide you want to market on Pinterest, Tailwind is a tool I 100% absolutely recommend that you are going to need to get. It's only going to cost you $10 to $15 a month, and it's going to make your Pinterest management so easy. So there's a few different features that Tailwind provides. The first one, they have what's called Tailwind Create, and it allows you to create a whole ton of pins within a matter of minutes. So you throw in the headline, you throw in an image, your brand colors, and they will auto populate hundreds of different designs. It's a quite powerful, incredible tool. So if design is not at all your thing, it's like you were just like, I am allergic to graphic design, I'm terrible at it. Tailwind is incredible. You want to use that Tailwind Create tool, and that will allow you to create gorgeous, eye-catching pins in minutes. The other feature they offer is called Tailwind Communities. And communities are really powerful. It's basically a huge group of people that come together around a certain topic. So I am a part of a bunch of different communities that are about social media marketing. And we all share our pins, all based around social media marketing. And then we then go into that feed within that community and find pins that we want to share to our boards. And so you work together as a group of people, as a community, to help boost one another's content. It is really powerful and it's a really great way to leverage other people's audiences and to get your pins in the feeds of a much broader audience. The cool thing is your pins just kind of spider web from there. So if you share it to your community and then maybe 5 people then share it to their boards, well, then the people who follow them will then see it and they could possibly then share it. And so your pins just kind of spider web from there. It's really a quite incredible process. And the other great thing about Tailwind is you have the ability to schedule pins and it within seconds. So I have a couple videos on my YouTube channel that shows you how you can schedule hundreds of pins in a matter of minutes. I'll put a link to that video in the show notes or in the description below so you can check that out and it really gives you a good feel for like, wow, okay, Tailwind makes this Pinterest management so much easier than you could have ever imagined. So, Tailwind is definitely a tool you'll want to get if you decide that Pinterest is a channel you want to market your business on. And then the third really unique thing about Pinterest for business owners, and I mentioned this earlier, is you get the early influence on that buying decision. So that's a really powerful way, to get your brand in front of people before they've decided which brand they want to go with or what product they want to buy. They're just searching for ideas and you get to put your product or your service in front of them when they're open-minded to any option. So it's a great way to influence the buying decision. Okay, so let's talk about how to get started with Pinterest. If you decide, okay, I'm in, let's do this, I want to share just a few steps to get you started. So, first, if you are not personally using Pinterest, you don't have your own account, I want you to sign up for a personal account first and familiarize yourself with the platform. Pinterest is a totally different beast on its own. So if you've never used it, it's going to be extremely overwhelming to start with. So I want you to start on it personally. Get on the platform, start searching for pins, learn how to save them, how to create a board, how to engage with the content. Just start kind of learning the ropes and how it works. Once you've gotten familiar with Pinterest on a personal level, then I've got some different resources that you can access to help you learn the ins and outs of Pinterest marketing. So, the first one I have for you is an article that I published a few years ago, and it has 37 Pinterest marketing tips for you. So, that's a great starting point for you to kind of quickly bring you up to speed with Pinterest marketing and give you some quick, simple tips. So, I will have a link to that article in the show notes. And then I also want you to keep in mind when you're getting started with Pinterest that it does require a fair amount of time in the beginning when you're getting it set up, when you're setting up your profile, when you decide that you're ready. Okay, so you've familiarized yourself with it on a personal level. You've read my article about the 37 Pinterest tips. Let's say you're like, okay, now I'm ready to go create my business account. Before you do that, though, I want to be clear and set some clear expectations. It's going to take you a fair amount of time to get that business account set up to the level that it needs to be for you to start seeing results on Pinterest. But once you've done that, so it's this upfront commitment, investment of your time. Once you've done that, it should really only take you 1 to 2 hours a week to manage your Pinterest account and your Pinterest activity, as long as you are using Tailwind to help you do that. So with Tailwind, with the help of that tool, it'll take you 1 to 2 hours a week to manage your activity. So personally, I think as a business owner, to market my business and drive lots of traffic to it, that's time that I'm willing to spend. So if you do decide, okay, that's time I'm willing to spend, create your business account and start building your boards and adding pins to it. If that article I talked to you about, the 37 Pinterest marketing tips, if it still leaves you kind of like, I still want more help, I still need some more step by step guidance, I want someone to hold my hand. Well, I do have a beginner's course. It's an online course called Pinterest Marketing 101. Now, I don't actively promote this course anymore because I am no longer updating it, but the fundamental concepts within the course, they are all still relevant. So if you are interested in enrolling in that online course, I will put a link in the show notes for you guys, and you can use the code TMC Pinterest. So it stands for The Marketing Coach. So TMC Pinterest, and you can enroll in that course for 50% off. Okay, so hopefully that helps you. But there are lots of other resources online that you can find. You'll just need to basically tell yourself, okay, if I'm doing Pinterest, I'm going to commit 5 to 10 hours each week in the beginning to learn the platform, to start building up, and to really kind of figure it out, build that foundation, right? Once that foundation's built, then you can drop down to 1 to 2 hours a week. But that's a commitment that I was willing to make when I first started my business. And hopefully it's one you're willing to make because it really is powerful and can get you some great, great results. Okay, well, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope you found it helpful and it answered the question of, is Pinterest the right fit for your business? Now, next week, I'm going to talk all about YouTube. So, before you decide to go all in on Pinterest, you might want to wait and listen to that episode about YouTube because maybe you'll decide, maybe YouTube is more my style and that's where more of my audience is. So, but again, as I mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, you'll want to basically decide between Pinterest or YouTube to figure out one of those two search engines, which one is the best fit to be marketing your business. Okay, and if you liked this episode, please, like it, give it a thumbs up, let me know in the comments, and it would be amazing if you guys would give me a rating and review on iTunes, on the Apple Podcasts. That really helps me reach more people and get the podcast out to more small business owners around the world. And have a great day, guys, and I will see you in the next episode.